Hello. In this video, we're going to talk about the scored open-ended questions on the Duolingo English test. My name is Sally and welcome to my channel. I've been doing some videos lately about the Duolingo English test, and I've gotten a lot of questions about the speaking section. There are several speaking prompts on the Duolingo English test, and today I want to focus on the open-ended computer-scored prompt. Since this is machine graded, I want to talk to you about what the computer will likely look for in your answer. And I'm going to go through 6 items that the computer is going to look for when grading your test. At the end of the video, I will talk to you a little bit about how a human scores these prompts a little bit differently. This is important because at the very end of the Duolingo English test, there is the prompt that you record that gets sent to your university as a speaking sample. So I think it's important to cover a little bit about what a human will look for and how that differs from what the computer is scoring for. All right, let's get to it. Number 1, addressing the task. I know this sounds silly, but it's easy to think you're answering the question being asked, but you're really not. So my solution for that, or my advice for you, is to take that prompt and restate it with your own idea. This makes your topic sentence. And then use those guiding questions that are embedded into the prompt to help you answer exactly the way they want you to answer.
Okay, let's take a look at a sample prompt from the Duolingo practice test. Talk about your favorite restaurant. Okay, your topic is your favorite restaurant. So a simple but good topic sentence would be, my favorite restaurant is, and then name the restaurant. Okay, these are your guiding questions. Make sure you answer these during the course of your response.
The important thing to remember is to stay on task. Don't go too far off, and make sure you are addressing the question being asked. Number 2 is grammatical complexity. The computer is going to look for a variety of sentence types. If you can use several different sentence structures, then go for it. This will help boost your scores up a little bit. If you cannot correctly use a variety of sentence types, it's okay to use what you can use. It's just that you'll get a few more points if you can use some variety in your structures. Number 3 is going to be the level of the words you use, meaning, can you throw in some difficult or more uncommon words in your response? The main goal is to use the words appropriate for the response. You don't want to use too many big words just for the sake of using big words, but if you can find some that are relevant within your vocabulary, use them. It will boost your scores a little. Number 4 is word diversity. This means try not to repeat the same words too many times. My advice for this section is take a look at the question. Whatever the subject of it is, try to think of a few words related to it and synonyms for those words. So for example, if the question is asking you about your hobbies, try to think quickly, what's another word for hobby? Another word for hobby is pastime. So if you're going to repeat hobby too many times, change one out for pastime. Number 5 is grammatical accuracy. Remember in prompt number 2, we said to use sentence diversity. Number 5 is asking you to weigh out whether this is appropriate for you or not. If you're going to make too many mistakes, it's better to stick with simpler sentence structures. But if you can use them and you can use them accurately, then using complex structures is to your benefit. You have to decide if the benefit is going to outweigh the mistakes. And now the last one, number 6, length and fluency. So this relates to number 1. Number 1 is to stay on task.
I'm not sure what happened to my footage. I seem to have been cut off. But what I wanted to say is that for fluency, your goal is to speak as naturally as possible. You don't want to force information just to add length to what you're saying. You should speak as much as you can speak naturally, and if your result is a little bit more concise rather than long, that's okay. Just focus on what you have to say and saying what you have to say as well as you can.
Now let's take a look at the other open-ended question on the Duolingo English test. This prompt does not affect your score, but it is sent to the university that you're applying to. This is important for you. This is actually a good opportunity for you. This is your chance to make a connection with the person watching your video. Humans and computers are very different. The computer is always going to look for whatever is programmed into its algorithm. The human is going to look at certain factors. Now, the human may have a scoring sheet that they're going to follow, but the human is going to focus on certain things. And those certain things are, number 1, content. When we speak to each other, we're listening for ideas. A computer does not care what your ideas are. The human does. And when you go to university, universities usually encourage you to develop your ideas. So it only makes sense when you send this speaking prompt to the university, they're going to look for your ideas. One point I'd like to make is don't worry too much about whether the person watching your speaking sample has the same opinions as you. In America, we're encouraged to develop our own ideas. As long as we can support our ideas with a reasonable argument, then that's what matters. So if you get a prompt that you don't really know the answer to, you know what? It's okay. Pick an argument, stick to it, support it the best you can, and make your ideas clear. It doesn't really matter if your answer is right or wrong. It just matters that you have clear ideas that you can express. Number 2 is sophistication. And what this means is, in your word choice, are you using words that address the topic? Now, a human is really going to notice if you're using the big words just to use the big words. We find it weird and we find it annoying. So really use the words that you know how to use. If you have some more advanced vocabulary in your mind, you can use them, but don't use all of them. Just use a few here and there to make your level of speaking just give the impression of being high. When a computer scores for word choice, this computer is going to make a note of how many words you've used and if they're appropriate. The human is not going to get that detailed. Certain words are going to stand out to the person, and overall it's going to leave that person with that feeling that you are speaking on a more academic or a more advanced level. Okay, the third thing a human will look for is sort of a mix between fluency and accuracy and overall comprehensibility. The human evaluator needs to be left with the feeling that you had enough to say about your topic, that you expressed your ideas, and that they could understand you. So they're going to care if you're speaking too quickly. That's much more important than speaking too slowly. So make sure you pace yourself. Make sure you're getting those ideas across. And one thing that they're not going to say, but it's that connection. Try to look into the lens of the camera. Tape yourself speaking to your camera and go back and look at it. My webcam, if I look into the lens, it looks like I'm looking above the camera. And so there's not that personal eye contact. When you're speaking to a person, you need eye contact. And Pretend the camera is a person and practice speaking to them. That'll help you become more comfortable with speaking to the camera, and that'll come across well to the evaluator. All right, there you have it. I hope this video has been helpful. I do plan to continue to make Duolingo videos as long as there's an interest for it. You can let me know you're interested by leaving a thumbs up for this video. Also, if you have any requests for any other types of videos, I work for a university in the United States, so if you have any questions about studying in the United States, I might be able to help with that. Let me know if you need help with anything in particular or request any other type of video. Thanks for watching.